music live and all that as well. I had tickets to go see Garth Brooks earlier this year, and then when COVID hit, they obviously canceled that concert. They rescheduled for February. I have no clue if they're going to be able to have it the way it is. So it's still kind of a fingers crossed situation on that. But yeah, Garth was supposed to help usher in Allegiant Stadium when it opened, but no, there's no crowds there now, and we're kind of in a flux. I mean, here in Vegas, we don't have as much enough tourism or anything like that until everything kind of settles in or whatever. So yeah, we're kind of in a state of just wait basically. Yeah. But all of us are a little bit anxious about that.
Yeah, well, something happens in the live setting that let's face it. I'm sitting here in front of a laptop, looking at my own picture, staring back at me, and looking at your picture. And like one of the things that happens when you perform live, it's just like the spirit comes and it takes you to another level of focus. And that doesn't really happen when you're playing in front of your laptop. And there's the energy that you're picking up from everybody. It's kind of a magical thing, and I miss it and look forward to it coming back.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier about, the audience and listening to lyrics and all that as well. And there's always that rush that there is when a huge crowd starts singing the lyrics of one of your songs. That's one of those things where there is a solid connection between the artists and the fans as well. So there's always that rush that's there. So hopefully that does come back.
Well, that's, as a songwriter, when somebody quotes one of your own songs, or if I'm looking on social media and I see a line from my song in somebody's post, like, oh man, that's makes you feel good.
Yeah, have you played? I would assume that have you guys played out here in Vegas at all?
No. Yeah. The only time I was in Nevada, I was in Reno, and of course, Johnny Cash shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. The thing that most amazed me is that there were slot machines at the gas station. Like, wow, this is never would have expected that. So no, I've never been in Vegas, and I've seen a lot of great. It was created as a place for entertainers to have a home. Something. I think somewhere, isn't it in the tagline of your podcast? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm missing out. I'm missing out.
Yeah, so hopefully, like I said, when the venues start opening up again, maybe we'll get you out here to do a couple of concerts. There's, we usually have the big rodeo out here. I don't know if they've moved it yet or not, but there was rumors that they were moving it. But yeah, there's always some good venues out here to be able to play. So hopefully we'll get you out here as well. You had mentioned before we went on about the song named Poison off the album. And you had mentioned that that you had produced it rather quickly. Tell me a little bit about that story and about how long did it take you to write that song?
The piano player in one of the versions of the band was a guy named Dave Losey, and he is an incredible musician. And we had a practice space, and he left all of his gear in the practice space, and he had So I just hooked up his microphone to a tape recorder and sat down and started playing songs, and songs just started to come. And so I had this little chord thing going, and the words just came to me, and I recorded it onto a little cassette. If the song's 4 minutes long, it took me 4 minutes write and 4 minutes to play. It was almost like instant. It just happened. And, that's one of those songs that we performed in various versions of the band for different audiences in different settings. And by the time we recorded this version, I know exactly how this song works best. And Dave Losey was no longer with the band, but piano player H.K. Hillner knew exactly what. It's like the great thing about the band is, the song is a vehicle. I don't want to tell you what to play. I'll play my thing, and then you play what you think fits. And for that magic time, the drummer just knew what the song needed. Rosa Colucci, the background vocalist and percussionist, she knew what the song needed. Everybody just did it. And it's magic. It's like, wow, I don't know how they knew what I wanted, but they knew. striving for an ideal, and we reached it. But the song just, appeared like a lot of songs. You wonder where your ideas come from. Who knows? I just sat down and it played itself. And the song itself has a little bit to do with kind of when you've made the same mistake, not once, not twice, not 20 times, but 100 times, and you see yourself, it's almost like you're having an out-of-body experience, and you're watching yourself, oh no, here I go again. I wish I could stop myself, but I'm going down this road that I've gone down before, and when I get to the end, hopefully my friends are still with me to pick up the pieces.
Well, that's going to be a record. I think we had a couple songs around 10 minutes, but 4 minutes has got to be going to be a new record for writing a song. So
4 minutes and maybe 6 years. 4 minutes of writing it, 6 years of refining it in live performance with acoustic bands and rockin' bands and folky bands.
We'll have more with Robert right after this.
On stage when you're performing, how many guitars do you usually use?
Me, I have a Martin D35. In the ideal setting, I just want to strum a guitar, pick an acoustic guitar, and have an electric guitar player who can, like a Robbie Robertson type guy, a guy who can play along. I'll be the Dylan, you be the Robbie Robertson. It's hard to find. So now, mostly I play solo acoustic. When we play with the band, I'm usually switching back and forth between acoustic and electric. Sometimes I play a Les Paul, sometimes I play a Gibson Melody Maker, piano player, bass player, drummer, and another singer. And I tell the other singer, in this case Rosa, she's the best, your job is to make me sound better. Nobody's going to pay to hear me sing, but they're going to love these songs if we can deliver them appropriately. So that's it. Yeah, we usually have one guitar on stage, sometimes two. I'm not sure if that was what you're asking me.
Yeah, I was asking. Yeah, basically, when you're out on stage, if you switch guitars, obviously you do it for acoustic versus electric and all that as well. I mean, depending on what the song is. So, I think you answered my question there. Yeah. About how many guitars do you own?
Well, I only own four. And I have a bass. But my guitars, thank God for my mother. My parents, were just working people, and their idea was that their kids were going to accomplish something with their lives, and that they were going to invest in us. If we had a talent, they were going to push it. If you're good in football, they would make sure you had good football equipment. I wanted to play drums. Back when I was growing up, when you turned 9, whether you liked it or not, you played a musical instrument. If you quit, you quit, but every kid was expected to learn music. And so I wanted drums for my 9th birthday, and my mother said, drums are really expensive. Would it be okay if we got you a guitar? So my 9th birthday was an acoustic guitar and a guitar lesson. And then when I turned 13, I got an electric guitar. And I remember knowing that I was probably going to get a nice present. And I walked into my bedroom and I saw it. And I was like, oh, I got it. And I just remember running my fingers across the strings and thinking, there could be nothing more beautiful than that. So and then my guitar teacher told me, never sell that guitar. And I've learned that it's a collectible guitar. It's a rare guitar. And my mom bought it for $50. Later, I got myself a Les Paul. And I had a pretty rare Les Paul. But I traded it in for another instrument. And then a friend of mine, I don't know if you're familiar with Mick Ronson. He was the electric guitar player for David Bowie in the Spider for Mars era. He had this blonde Les Paul. My buddy got a Les Paul just like Mick Ronson's, and he fell upon hard times, and I offered to take it off of his hands. I picked it up, I think, for $600, and with the promise that someday I would sell it back to him if he could ever come up with $600, but he actually passed away before he had a chance to buy it back. So I have a Melody Maker and a Les Paul, a Martin D35, and I have like a cheapo Epiphone acoustic that's, you see these $200 guitars, and you can make some music on those cheap instruments. The magic is not in the instrument. The magic is in something else, But if you play the cheap instrument side by side with the Martin, you hear why the Martins are the Martins and the Taylors are the Taylors and the Gibsons are the Gibsons. The instrument gives you the ability to say things that you would not have the ability to say on a cheaper instrument.
Yeah, and everything has a different sound. A Martin sounds like a Martin, a Les Paul sounds like Les Paul. So there's always that kind of slight difference in terms of what things they're sounding like or whatever too. And you can always adjust a little bit to fit the situation as it were. $1 million question. Did you name any of them?
Oh no, I don't have any names for any of my guitars. I did, I mentioned I got that Melody Maker for my 13th birthday, and I remember, I used to like the Beatles, like a lot of people liked the Beatles, and I saw a picture of George Harrison with a psychedelic-looking guitar. So I put stickers all over my Melody Maker, and I'm still trying to get the goop from those stickers off of it. Every time I take it in to get it set up, the luthier is always saying, I tried to get that off. Like, yeah, it's been on there for like 40 years. I should never put those stickers on. It takes away from its classicism. But no, I haven't named them.
Yeah, it seems to be popular not to name them anymore. They used to be a big huge thing, but now it's not anymore. And a lot of artists just like to trade up, as it were, or if they feel like they want to, pass it on, it makes it less of a deal if they don't name it. So yeah.
If I was really a guitar player, and I spoke through my guitar, but I just bang on the thing. I've learned to take I do have a good sense of timing and a good sense of rhythm. I know that, but there are guitarists who can speak on their guitars as fluently as I can speak with words. They spontaneously, the musical thought occurs to them and they can execute it. Me, if there's a musical thought that occurs to my head, I'm going to have to sit down and figure it out a little bit and practice it a bunch of times before I can get it right. So my guitar playing is to accompany my singing and accompany the lyrics of the songs. And I try to hand the lead guitar duties over to somebody who is the guitarist. On this album, though, on Undesirables and Anarchists, it's mostly straight. There are no real solos or anything. And I do all the guitars, which is, I've gotten some compliments for it, too. I've like guitarists, guys that are really super guitar players. I apparently have a style that's on, because I'm a little bit self-taught when it comes to lead guitar. They say, you don't play like a guitar player. And I had a guy, a recording engineer, one time say, stop playing it like it's a piano. Like, oh, yeah, how about that? Because in my head, I'm not really thinking like your typical guitar player plays. But I have a gift for words, and for storytelling. The purpose of the band is to get other people on the vehicle to give the audience something to listen to.
Yeah, a question that I don't think I've ever asked a musician, and you kind of related to that, is the fact that playing while you're singing. I mean, how long did it take you to kind of get that down? Because by the sounds of it, you got the guitar kind of down first, and then the singing came kind of second. How long did it take you to kind of get that? It's almost like doing the left hand while the right hand's doing it. I mean, how did that come about?
I don't know how people do it. I mean, I can actually now play some single note stuff and sing counter to what I'm playing. If you listen to a lot of beginner bands, you'll hear people that their vocal line is rhythmically and melodically parallel to whatever they're playing on the guitar. So it's got to be identical, and it is because they're not capable of doing anything else. The first band that I was in, I wrote the songs, I wrote the lyrics, and I played the guitar, and we had like the best musician I ever knew. A guy named John Creighton was the singer, and he was like, when he stepped behind the mic, he was just an electrifying performer, with not even a showman. He just had so much energy coming out of him that he could captivate the audience. And, he was always pushing me to, you got to sing your own songs. You got to sing your own songs. And I'm not